Season 19 trailer, once again back. This is my number 4. Okay, I did 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4. Welcome to it. Today, we're going to be talking about Kody and Robyn and how they appeared in the trailer. I have a lot of observations that I want to share with you guys, and I definitely want to hear from you. So if you have anything to say, leave a comment down below so that I know what you're thinking. All right, so here we go. First and foremost, I think that throughout many of the seasons of Sister Wives, maybe since like season 3 or 4, Robyn and Kody have consistently tried to reinvent themselves to the audience. They've gone out of their way to try to make themselves different, or at least perceived to be different to us, the audience, as we're watching the show. As a for instance, I always equate them and what they're doing to a kid who goes to a new school. When you get to a new school, you can become whoever you want to be because these people are not familiar with you. You can be the tough guy, the cool guy, the athlete, the jock, whatever, if you can pull it off, but you can present yourself that way. And the big problem that Robyn and Kody has is that this only works with new people. Now, I understand that as new people, as people are starting to join the sister wife fold, they're becoming curious about it because after season 16, where Christine initially packed Kody's stuff up, and in season 17, where she left, season 18, where Mary and Janelle left, now all of a sudden people are starting to give fresh eyes to the show. Kody feels like he can reinvent himself and represent himself to these new folks who don't know any better. Hey, I'm a cool guy, and I'm just so hurt that these women would abandon me and treat me this way. And so I think that's kind of the crowd that they're trying to play to. The bigger problem that they have is most of the people who watch the show are like using that same example, are the kids that you started school with. These are the kids that known you since kindergarten, and you guys are going into high school. Now all of a sudden you want to try to be everything different. You want to reinvent yourself and become a whole new person. They know who you are. So in order for you to be different, you have to demonstrate a change, not only in your behavior, but your attitude. You have to have a substantive change for people to believe that you're actually substantively different, that you're not the same person that we knew back in kindergarten who used to crap their pants and shit the bed. You're a different person now. Unfortunately for Kody, you're still walking around with the tiger stripes in the back of your pants. Just saying. Something to think about. As far as Robyn is concerned,
this was not the way it was supposed to go.
Now, of course, if I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and look at it through the best possible vein and you know, I'll give you all the credit, Robyn. She is complaining that it's not the way it was supposed to go because I was supposed to have the big family. I was supposed to have not only a bunch of other kids that aren't my kids and a happy husband, but I was supposed to have sister wives and this whole community surrounding me and empowering me. And I didn't get that. Things didn't turn out the way they were supposed to. Instead of complaining about it all failing and nothing working out the way you wanted to work out, ask yourself, why did it fail? Nothing was your fault. According to you, nothing was your problem. Your life was great. Your life was wonderful. I don't know why it didn't work. It didn't work because you failed to realize that the other people and participants in the family that you were so proud of and that you were so desirous of keeping, they weren't happy. They had a problem, and it didn't matter whether it was your fault or not. If you were interested in keeping these people around, you should have made it your business to try to solve their problems, to try to help them with their issues, instead of sitting back and pretending as though because you're not to blame, and it's not you, and they don't understand you, and oh, we're all in it to ourselves, and we all got to get our own, and it's up to them to get their own, and I'm just doing the best I can, and so therefore I don't have to worry about it because it's not my issue, not my problem, not my fault. I can close a blind eye to it, and everything will be all right. That's not how life works. And if anything, I'm trying not to be mean, but it's a very childish way for you to look at not only life in general, but a way to conduct relationships. To think that you can just, because it's not a problem for you, if your neighbor or somebody you work with, say you're at your job and the person who you rely on to do a certain thing, you're making widgets, the guy who's like 2 stages ahead of you has a problem or issue, or he's thinking about quitting his job. Now, it's not your problem. It's not your concern if he quits the job, from a personal level, but professionally, if he quits the job or he leaves, it's going to jam you up. So why wouldn't you do everything in your power to try to make sure that this guy is happy? Hey, boss, John down there, he's not doing well. He's not feeling good. Maybe you can go down and tell him he's doing a good job, or, give him this inspiration or that inspiration, or you can help him, or I can help him, maybe after work, or I can, help him with the job, or whatever the case may be, because I need him down there doing his job because he makes my job easier. That's just one of the things that to me makes more sense. But as I'm watching Robyn, I don't see any of that. When we talk about, for instance, if she was so interested in keeping the family together, why not offer up Kody Pass? And I call it Kody Pass because he's trying to take over it and won't let he won't let that piece of property go. It's not Coyote Pass, it's Kody Pass. So why don't you offer that, Robyn, I have a $2 million house sitting on acres and acres of land. I have land adjacent to my property that I also own. We have Janelle sitting there. She doesn't own anything. She's upset. Why don't we give her part of Coyote Pass that she could build on and she could establish her house? Now, had she done that and had Janelle felt like she was part of the family, that would have went a long way to making Janelle feel more whole and more involved with the family, and might have actually been the thing to keep her in the family. Especially if you could talk Kody into treating her kids right, Janelle wouldn't have left. That's something that was in your power. That was a conversation that you could have had. That's something that you could have advocated for. But, you didn't want to step on your own toes. And the only time it seems like you actually feel like you want to advocate for something is when you get something out of it. I don't know. That's just the way you come off. Sorry, baby girl. That's just the way it is. The dark side of listening to that quote, and I got to do this, but the dark, especially when it comes to Kody and Robyn, for some reason, I always got to go to the dark side. The dark side of when I hear that quote is, it's not the way it was supposed to be, or not the way it was supposed to go, means you were supposed to maintain access to the family funds. It wasn't supposed to be that they could leave and I would no longer have access to all this money. The wives were supposed to keep contributing to our lifestyle. They were supposed to keep making my life awesome. They should have kept coming to work and making sure that I had the money that I needed in order for me to have this fabulous, wonderful lifestyle where I get a $2 million home plus about 8 acres of land over there on Coyote Pass. Robyn's 4 plus Kody's 4. I don't understand what the problem is. It's craziness. You were supposed to be the heroine and the star. It didn't turn out like it was supposed to be because you have 2 women who have been pulled from the sister wives ranks, Christine and Janelle, and lifted up as the audience or fan favorites. Then Mary isn't that far behind them, carrying a banner of like popularity now. And you and Kody are at the bottom of likability ratings in the show. It wasn't supposed to be this way. It was supposed to be a situation where in Robyn's mind, and I firmly believe this, she believes that she should have been the heroine of the story. She should have been the person that everybody looks to and says, this is Robyn's show. She is the star of this show. Or ideally, she was supposed to get her own independent spinoff show, which would have been accompanied by perfume, jewelry, and clothing brand deals, where she would be making millions and millions of dollars in and of herself. But things didn't go the way they were supposed to go. And I know she's going to be upset. That's not what the trailer was about. Too bad, so sad. This is my interpretation. This is my YouTube channel, so I'm going to say it the way I see it. The ironic part is, and this is the craziest thing, even if I gave her like the best benefit of the doubt like I did initially, the craziest thing, if you really pare it all down and think about it, Robyn married into a big, huge polygamous family so that she could have a monogamous marriage. That's like having a bathroom here and then you walk around the block so that you could come into the bathroom. Like, it's crazy as hell. Why don't you just make the right instead of just walk around, turning left and walking around the whole neighborhood? Because it's the way it should have been. And then there's this next clip.
I feel like the idiot that got left behind.
Now, my first question, are you saying you should have left too? You should have been the first one to leave? Is this some kind of threat? I feel like the idiot who got left behind because you should have been the first one out the door. If this is something you believe in, if this marriage, this family is something you believe in, then it should be enough that you're a part of it, that you're doing it. If I show up to an event and nobody else shows up, like if you have a favorite band or a favorite actor, or it's like your favorite movie series or book, signing author or whatever, and you show up and no other fan shows up to see it, do you really care? If the movie, the songs, or the concert is everything you want, if anything, I'm more happy that nobody else. It's almost like me and my favorite artists, they're singing to me. They're singing the songs. I'm there down in the audience, dancing and moving and switching and doing everything I want to do, having a great old time because I enjoy it. It's enough for me. If it's the right thing, if you feel like this family is the right thing, you feel like Kody is your soulmate, it doesn't matter what these other women decide to do. Kody is your soulmate. Kody is the person you were supposed to be destined to. Remember when you were standing there talking about, I gave my purity to someone else when I should have given it to Kody. It saved it and gave it all to him. Remember that? If he's the person that you should have gave your purity to, which would have X'd out your 3 oldest kids, and they wouldn't exist. But if this was the person that you should have given your purity to, then he should be enough that it doesn't matter how many people leave him. It doesn't matter who else departs because he's enough and you're where you're supposed to be. So that's kind of crazy to me. Once again, we're going to have to go a little dark. We're going to have to go a little dark. You know, when I heard her say that, I got to tell you that the first thing that occurred to me is that life is a soundtrack. Like, life has a soundtrack to it. Some things happen and then all of a sudden you just hear a song that would just perfectly fit this situation or scenario. In this particular case, I heard a song. You know what song I heard? I heard The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. You got to know when to hold 'em. Know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting on Kody Pass, there'll be time enough for counting. When you're doing the dash. Okay, now the whole point is that it came off to me when I first heard it, it came off to me like she was this person who shows up to a poker game and it's payday and everybody's got fat pockets and their bank accounts is full and they brought all their money and they sat it on the table. Then all of a sudden, some of them started getting phone calls and they heard that the club is open and they're like, let me get the hell out of here, yo. The family calling them, wives found out, and all of a sudden dudes and the people are leaving, the other players are leaving, and you stuck with this one person. You don't even know they might still, they still got paid. They still got a little bit of scratch. Most of the money just walked out the door. You didn't quit early enough. There was a YouTuber who had taken a position, and I'm not going to holler their name out because I'm not sure about the sources that this YouTuber uses. But it was rumored that at one point, Kody and the sister wives were complaining about Robyn's spending, and Robyn had retorted that if he continued to complain and they continued to complain, she would divorce Kody and rip that money out from under the family. And unfortunately for her, it sounds like if all this is true, I don't know, I can't verify that this is true, but if all this is true, that in tandem with this particular statement, it sounds like she waited too long and these women left took their checks with them. And now there's not, even if she leaves and rips money away from Kody, she's not going to get anywhere near the bank that she would have received had the family stayed intact and she was the first one out the door. And when I say this, we also have to keep in mind that Kody, as it stands right now, his income level has downgraded 60%. He's down 60% of his income because at one time when the wives would make their money from TLC, everybody made their money from TLC. It all went into the bank account for Kody Brown Entertainment LLC, the bank account and business, LLC business that he had access to and that he utilized a lot of the funds from. This is where a lot of the pictures and the paintings and stuff that's in the wall of that mansion, that's where a lot of that came from. Janelle even made some intonation that there may have been overspending and misspending from the Kody Brown LLC when she had talked about, oh, there's always money for things that they want to do, but now that I want to start building my house, we all of a sudden don't have any money. When it's time to pay off Coyote Pass, we don't have any money. But I know that there's money in the account, and I know that we've been using the money for other things. This is what she was saying during season 17. Take from it what you will. I'm not saying that this is 100%, but I'm just saying. Then it also comes down to the fact of Kody and Robin. For some reason, they're still filming outside. Like, I just don't understand what the fascination is with them filming outside and deciding to do this particular way. But they're outside, and they're filming again, and they have this particular clip.
I'm having a hard time feeling like losing respect for you.
Robin, I can't even get it straight with you right now.
I want to be very clear with this because when I first watched it, I hear what they're saying. And it just comes off as bad acting. Like, Robin is such a horrible actress. And I understand why she didn't make it far as far as, like, you know, her stint as an actress, because she's a horrible actress. And I want to explain and be very clear about why I think that this is, in fact, acting. I think that this is acting because when you have issues or problems in your regular life, you recognize that there are people there, strangers there in the room that you might not want to have these arguments in front of. My mom and parents used to call it mixed company. You don't want to have arguments or disagreements in front of mixed company, in front of company. So you keep it to yourself. And a lot of these discussions and arguments, I think, are things that are brought up in private. Then they notify the production team that they've had these discussions or arguments, or these are the things that are going on in their life. The production team goes through and says, you know what, this is a good argument. This is a good discussion. Let's reenact it. And when they're doing the reenactments, there's a couple things that I think happens. One, and as an example, just to prove the point, James, how do you know it's reenactments? How do you know they do that? Another example of it would be the couch confessions. When they're sitting on the couch and they talk about, you know, I was feeling kind of this way or that way. When I went to the get the dress, this is what I was feeling. I wanted to be pretty. And then later they have like, oh, I didn't know what was going on because my stomach was upset and I was throwing up a lot. I didn't know what was happening. And then they say, well, after everything was settled, we realized that I went pissed on the stick and I realized I was pregnant. Ooh, and the two discussions are months after the actual event or circumstances. And in two, they're wearing the same clothes from the time that they say they don't know what happened to the time they come up with a resolution. That tells me it's a reenactment. So they use present tense as opposed to past tense when discussing issues and that kind of thing. So I think there's reenactments that occur. Like there's a disagreement or a discussion that happens. They want them to reenact that discussion. Now, when they do this, let's be very clear. I think that Robin and Kody are specifically trying to create and draft supporting storylines when they're doing these reenactments. I think that they have a story that they want to tell. They have a presentation that they want to make about their particular characters, and they want to try to create these arguments or discussions that support the character that they have. Like the whole, this isn't going the way it was supposed to go. And then Kody standing out there arguing with her, saying that, this isn't how he wanted things to be. And this is all echoed from things that he said previously when people have said, well, why you two are together? Why aren't you happy? And then he said, you don't understand. We didn't want a divorce. We wanted the family to stay together. We've always been pro-family. And so the discussions they have go a long way to demonstrate that that's what they wanted, that they wanted the family to stick together. Here's the crazy part about some of these discussions. The parties who are involved with these discussions, they both know that they're reenacting a previous argument, but they don't necessarily know what the other person is going to say. This, I think, is an example of like when Kody was sitting in Janelle's house and they were having a huge argument, that big blowout argument that destroyed, their relationship. I think that both Janelle and Kody understood what they were arguing about and what the argument was going to be about because they already had the argument. Janelle was approaching the argument as it occurred before. Some of the accusations that she was leveling against Kody as far as him not inviting the kids or wanting the kids to come back and apologize. These are all things that they had talked about before. And when Kody went to address it with her, he wanted to shift it. This is also part of the reason why a lot of times when folks get excited about going to court, they'll have an argument and they're going to court and they plan to tell the truth. This is what happened. This is how it went down. This is what they said. This is why they are wrong. The other person who did the wrong thing or said the wrong thing doesn't want to go in court and say the wrong thing. Kody doesn't want to be sitting on the couch saying the wrong thing. So instead, you change the argument. You change the argument. This is a perfect example of like when you get in an argument, you have a discussion with somebody, you say, I wish I would have said, this is their opportunity to say the things that they wish they would have said the way they wish they would have said them. This is also an example of like when Kody was talking about the knife and the kidneys on the porch. That whole prepared speech was based off of a discussion that they had had before, and Kody had prepared a whole monologue around it. When Robyn was sitting there trying to talk about how she had got blamed for things in Vegas, and that's what Christine had said, maybe Christine did say that in the first argument, or it came off that way. She might not have said that directly in the first argument, but maybe it came out that way, and Robyn wanted to capitalize on it, but Christine didn't give it to her. And Robyn's sitting there going off on something that wasn't said, and she's sitting there looking crazy sauce. So I think that is something that occurs. With specifically Kody and Robyn's interactions, and my feeling, they're too synchronized, which is why it comes off as bad acting. They get together too much. So it's not that they're actually, because if you don't have synchronization, you don't know what the other person is going to say. When you come in, and even when you try to change the argument, the other person isn't trying to look bad. So they're going to say whatever it is they say. Now that sends the other person, even though they planned it out, their plan wouldn't have survived the first contact with the enemy. So they have to change their position as well. And it creates a whole new discussion, a genuine, more authentic discussion, because there actually is a conflict there. With Kody and Robyn, I don't think that there's much of a conflict there because I think both of them have an agreement that they're not going to make the other person look bad. Now, the problem is, especially for Kody, and the mistake he's making with regard to Robyn, Kody and Robyn may agree not to make each other look bad, but when Robyn is ready to separate from Kody, all she's going to do is piggyback off of all the accusations that the OG3 have made against Kody and say that, yeah, they're right. I was ignorant. I had no idea. I was so stupid. I was so ignorant. I was just hoping for the best. And I ignored a lot of the problems that Kody had, and I didn't realize it was that bad. Will it work? Probably not, but I think that that's where she's going. Now, in the spirit of their bad acting, I came up with a clip because we oftentimes see like the little disputes between Kody and Robyn. So I'll replay that dispute, but I've also scoured the internet, and I want you guys to appreciate that I had to sit through some really shit movies in order to come up with this next clip. So the makeup scene, where they're on par with their level of acting, where I see their level of acting, I found a makeup scene that is going to use stunt doubles for Robyn and Kody, because they're more puritanical. They're more pure, so they don't do a lot of the crazy stuff. So let's look at the let's look at their fight scene first, and then we're going to look at the makeup scene. Let's check it out.
I'm having a hard time feeling like losing respect for you.
Robyn, I can't even get it straight with you right now.
3 days later.
I'm done talking.
Really?
Doesn't it seem like they're talking past each other? And this isn't a good look for somebody who speaks native Codanese. Apparently, that superpower only works if she sacrifices somebody else for her own benefit. The only time I can speak Kody is if I'm throwing somebody else under the bus. Now, in my mind, instead of them trying to reinvent themselves or recreate themselves to the audience, they have to do something different, and they have to pursue what is known as a redemption arc. They have to create a redemption arc for themselves within the storyline. Now, what is a redemption arc? A redemption arc is a story arc in which a character finds redemption for their sins, their wicked actions, or overall undesirable personality or behaviors, like the things that they're doing, who they are. They have to find redemption in those things. Now, to achieve this status in any good storytelling, 3 things essentially have to happen. First, in order to reach atonement, there has to be acknowledgement. You have to acknowledge what you've done first. You have to recognize who and what you are and what you did wrong and demonstrate the desire to make things right. You have to prove that you're willing to make things right because you recognize you did the wrong thing. I didn't treat my family well. I wasn't a good provider. I wasn't a good person. I didn't protect not just their physical forms, but I didn't protect their emotional, psychological, mental health. I didn't protect them that way. I failed. And you recognize your failure and you strive to improve upon it. Second, a redemption arc must accompany substantial character development. You can't stay the same. And it can't be a broken down or turn on a cool speech or some rando kindness that you do on a random ass Wednesday that all of a sudden you're a good person now and then we should start listening to you and start seeing you differently. You have to acknowledge what you did wrong, and it has to accompany some substantial development in your personality, in your character. So you're basically becoming a different person, and gradually, but you're basically on the road to becoming a different person. What I don't want to hear and what is inadequate for me is for you to say that you've suffered. Or, talk about how they left you and how you're all alone and how bad you feel and how things didn't work out for you and boo-hoo-hoo, things didn't go my way. What I want to hear is, it's my fault. This is what I did wrong. These are the things that I did. This is where I failed. And this is how I'm going to improve myself. A key factor for me in the redemption arc is a genuine commitment to doing the right thing for the right thing's sake. It's not because you are getting this preferred ending or this preferred result. If I do this nice, kind thing, I acknowledge that I was wrong and I say I'm sorry, you'll be my friend. You can't walk into a store, steal a bunch of stuff, and get caught and then apologize that you stole a bunch of stuff and then say, oh, you apologize? Okay, we're going to let you go. No, that's not enough. That's not enough for a redemption arc. I don't want to go to jail. You go to jail, then all of a sudden you redeemed yourself? No, that's not enough. You have to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. You have to do, even if you suffer. Redemption arcs also don't necessarily mean you get a positive ending. That's not what a redemption arc is. Sometimes in stories, you can think of movies or stories or plays where somebody has a redemption arc, and then at the end of their redemption arc, they're not here no more. Okay? So sometimes the redemption arc doesn't have the best ending for the person who's getting that redemption arc. But you're doing the right thing for the right thing's sake, not for the result that you plan on receiving. Because if you do it for a result, you haven't changed. Third, the final redemption must be equal to or greater than the character's previous evil actions. You can't go out and, burn down a bunch of people's houses, and then because you get $50 at the homeless shelter, all of a sudden you've been redeemed. You can't sit there and talk about how, you try to lead women into ruination financially, emotionally, and everything else. But because you send them a birthday card, or you talk about how you miss them or how your life was so much better when they were around, all of a sudden you've redeemed yourself. That's not how it works. You have to do the work. And part of the reason why I'm not sure that Kody and Robyn are able to get, or even, I want to say get redemption, but even pursue the redemption arc, is because, one, I don't think that they'll ever acknowledge what they did wrong or the parts that they played in the failure of their relationships with these other folks. And including not only the wives, but the children as well. I don't think that they're willing to say, this is where I failed. This is where I came up short. Without the whataboutisms. Well, what about the times that you messed up? What about when you did that to me? No, this is where I messed up. This is where I was wrong. Full stop, period. That's the first thing. Second thing, I don't think that they're willing to change enough and recognizing what they did wrong, pursue the avenues to change who they are, their behaviors, their attitudes, in order to heal any of these other relationships. Which means that because you can't do those things to improve or make better your relationships, we as the viewers are going to notice that you haven't done those things. And like I said, you have to do it to repair your relationships solely. You can't do it because you want us to like you more, because then that's not a redemption arc. Then finally, of course, you have to make a sacrifice that is equal to or greater than the evil or wicked deeds that you performed. Are you willing to make those sacrifices? If you guys think that they're willing to make those sacrifices, they can make that change, you think that they are suited for a redemption arc and we're going to see that over the next couple seasons, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. I want to hear what your take is. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Give me that HBO special, which stands for Help a Brother Out Special. This has been My Take. I'm James, and this has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out. 'Cause I've been living life.